Hi everyone, skincare routine video for you today. I'm going to break down what I use on my face, how I use it, and why I do those particular steps. It's probably disappointingly simple and easy, but I'm quite low maintenance really when it comes to my skin. Now look, if we haven't met before, I'm Ruth Crilly. I've been writing and making content about beauty since 2010 online. So I was one of the OG UK bloggers, and I still blog about beauty over on modelrecommends.com. I will link to it below, and on Instagram at Ruth Crilly. I was a model for many years, from 2001, I think it was, until 2012, 2013. I've written a book about that period of my life. It's called How Not to Be a Supermodel. It was an instant Sunday Times bestseller. Order it now. You can download it on audio and listen to it. Start listening straight after we finish this video if you want to. After I finished modelling, I started blogging and vlogging about beauty. Just a few little disclaimers. I don't have any injectables, any tweakments, any kind of very high maintenance facials or lasers or procedures or anything like that. If you want to have a little close up, here's a close up with a bit of tinted moisturiser over the top, and then I will do a close up with no makeup on for you, just so you can see the lines and texture of the skin and any little dark spots and things like that, so you can get a good idea of how my skin looks in real life. I don't use filters or anything like that, so you can pretty much, if you go onto my Instagram, what you see is what you get. Apologies to any of you who were expecting a makeup video today, a makeup routine. I went to start filming it and then realised that my key product, which is my Lancome foundation, is empty. So I have just ordered a new one, and I will film that when I've got the right products. Okay, let's get cracking with this skincare routine. As I said, it's reasonably simple, and I'm going to talk about steps more than I'm going to talk about products. Okay, so in the morning I cleanse, I use an antioxidant serum, and then I go in with my moisturiser and SPF, or moisturiser stroke SPF, or moisturiser followed by makeup product that I can use in enough quantities to get the stated SPF. Depends what I'm using and how I'm feeling, okay? But that is it. Cleanse, antioxidant serum, or vitamin C serum, if you like, and then moisturiser SPF. If I use a cleanser, then it's usually some kind of balm cleanser or an oil cleanser. Looks like this. This is an Alpha H one. Can you see that texture? The reason I like that type of product is that you can use it over the eye area, so it takes off eye makeup as well. And I think that because you really massage it in and it's oily, it breaks down all of the SPF, it breaks down all of the pigment in the makeup, all of the dirt and grime. And then when you use a washcloth, which you have to, you can't splash that off. It just gives you a little bit of exfoliation at the same time, and it just means that you're giving your skin a really thorough cleanse. If you've never done this before, just try changing that step and see what happens to your skin, because I can guarantee you will not believe how thorough it is, and yet it doesn't strip the skin, it doesn't leave it feeling dry. It's just a game changer, okay? I said I wasn't going to name specific products, but just to make it easier for you, I'm going to show you the kinds of things that I use. So a lot of the time I use the CeraVe vitamin C serum, which is very well priced, but this is probably my favourite, maybe of all time. It's the antioxidant from Skin Rocks. It's really potent but very, very gentle. I can find that with lots of antioxidant serums, vitamin C serums, my skin gets really irritated. It's one of the products that is most likely to irritate my skin, and this does not do that. It's pricey, but I think if you are going to make an investment in a part of the skincare routine in the morning, you can buy cleansing balms that are cheap as chips. You can buy really good SPFs, although nice SPF is really worth spending on, that are pretty inexpensive. But I think sometimes that the serums are the products in the routine that do the heavy lifting, that are really the ones that are targeting whatever it is you're trying to target. And in my case, with the antioxidant, it's just a bit of extra protection from the elements. And also you're looking at brightness and evenness of skin tone. So if you're prone to dark spots or just lots of sort of speckles on your face, and your skin feels very uneven in tone, it feels dull, then an antioxidant or a vitamin serum is a really good thing to pop into the morning routine. And I always think to myself, this is sort of the underwear to my outfit, which is the SPF. So that is why I always make sure that I've got that underneath my SPF. Talking of SPF, so many favourites. Now, a lot of the time I will choose one that's so moisturising and so much like a face cream in texture that I don't need any extra moisturiser underneath. One such product would be the Biolumin C from Dermalogica. This again is really, really pricey. You don't need to spend that much on your skincare, but if you do like to spend on your skincare as an investment, I think Dermalogica are amazing. I very rarely come across a product that I think I wouldn't bother with that. This one is probably my all-time favourite SPF. It is just like applying water in a gel. I mean, it's absolutely incredible. It's the Naked Sundays Cabana Clear. This one's an SPF 50. These are both SPF 50. And it's just so lightweight. I mean, you really can't tell that you're applying anything. Dries down really quickly. However, I do find that I need a moisturiser underneath. And I think with any of these things, it's just a matter of trial and error. Try out the SPF, and if it does feel as though your skin's not plumpy and comfortable, just layer it over another moisturiser. If on the other hand you tend to feel greasy, try a different SPF. Something like this will not be greasy whatsoever. And B, just lessen the amount of product you put underneath it. Maybe go straight in on top of your serum with your SPF. It really is just a matter of experimenting and seeing what works for you, really. Oh my God, I totally forgot something really important, which is my main change since my last skincare routine video. This is Vita Liberata Deep Moisture Face Tan. Now, I've been going on about gradual tanners for the face for years and years and years because I have one on now. It just is very low key. I apply it every other day to make sure that I maintain this feeling of having a sun-kissed tan on my face. Now, you can buy drops that you mix into your moisturiser and you apply them with your fingertips. There are sprays, there are all kinds of ways of applying these tans. But I have a new way, because one of the barriers for me of applying fake tan was that afterwards I had to then go and really wash my hands well, and I had to kind of go round with a flannel round my nail beds and underneath, because otherwise the product would get caught there and I would wake up the next day and I would have these rings around my nails, which looked disgusting. And so more often than not I think, oh, I can't be asked to put the tan on because I'm then going to have to go around and make sure it's not all clinging to my nail beds. Found a solution. This I put on because it's a cream, it's a moisturiser. So this would swap out my moisturiser step. I put it onto the brush and I bosh it all on with the brush. I blend it all down my neck, into my ears, into my hairline, and I don't have to wash my hands afterwards. Not only that, but I feel like I get a smoother, more kind of realistic tan from this, because the brush sort of hits the high points more and I just feel like it does a better distribution. So pleased with this discovery. This is a Jane Iredale brush. So good. I feel like in this video I'm going to say a lot. This is so pricey, but this is about 50 quid. But I feel like it's one of the best base brushes that I've ever used. I think it's just all in the angle of these bristles, and it's really soft, but it's really also very firm in the way that the bristles are put together so that you get a really good buff. Love it. Perfect for applying this as well, although you could just use a cheap old brush to apply it, it's fine. And that is it. That is what I do in the morning. So cleanse, antioxidant or vitamin C, serum, and then in with moisturiser and SPF, or a hybrid of the two, just so long as you apply enough, okay? And I do that religiously. This is every single morning. I very rarely deviate from my routine. I have other products that I will try, but I find that especially doing this job where I'm testing a hell of a lot of product, I like to have a stable of my favourites, the things I know that work for me, And then I try and change out one product at a time so that I can tell what effect a product is having on my skin. And usually I try and do about 6 weeks, but I've only got one face. There's only so much time in the year, so it does tend to limit the amount of things that I can try properly. But that's what I do. I have my set routine, my set products, and my kind of 5 to 10 of each category that I use on rotation and that I love. And the rest of the things just get changed in as and when I want or need to try them. Evening. This is when it gets exciting and slightly more complex. So stay with me. In the evening, this is when I do my proper deep cleanse. In with a cleansing balm again. I've never really been a person that double cleanses. However, started using this recently. The Yepida Bubble Double, which is a salicylic acid foaming cleanser. And I quite like the little zing that it gives my skin afterwards. A little bit of exfoliation, gorgeous. There are 2 routines for the evening. One is cleanse, exfoliate, and in with a moisturiser. Just a really, really deep moisturiser. And I'll use a peptide serum before the moisturiser. So cleanse, maybe exfoliate with this, serum, and deeply hydrating moisturiser. That's evening 1. Evening 2 is retinoids, and I will deep cleanse, so with a balm or the 2 things, depending on how much makeup I've got on. Deep cleanse and then in with retinoid, and that is all that I do. So there's 2 steps on the retinoid evening. I don't use a serum. Now and again, depending on what retinol it is or retinoid that I'm using, I will then apply a moisturiser afterwards, because some of them can make my skin feel quite dry and tight. But if it's one of my usual ones, then I have just a 2-step routine. Cleanse, retinoid. Okay? And on the other evening, that's when I pack the peptides and the moisture in. And I'm going to tell you about my 4 favourite ranges. Skin and Me, which is mine has tretinoin in it, but it's bespoke. So you do a skin consultation online. I work with them quite a lot. This is not part of my work with them. This is not ad content, sponsored content. But it's one of my most used products, I think, of my adult life. And so it would be remiss of me to leave this out. So Skin and Me was what I started off using, and it comes in a wind up metal tube, and it gives you the right amount for each dose. And after you've done your skin consultation, they create you your bespoke product. So it has been designed for the needs of your particular skin. Did Skin and Me for years, and then they brought out Renew & Me, and that has been designed, that's skewed more to women in their mid-40s and onwards, or 40s and onwards. I think they might even say mid-30s, but I would say 40s and onwards. Medicate Crystal Retinol, which is probably the next strongest down, I would say. I don't get any side effects from either of these products, and I don't think that it's because I've been using them for so long and my skin is used to it so much, because there have been other retinoids I've tried recently and they have almost taken my face off, and they don't profess to be as strong as these. So I think the formulation is a lot to do with it. So get yourself something that's either been formulated for you or a really trusty brand, such as Medicate. The Murad Retinol range is gorgeous. And then on the lower price point side, I would say that my favourites would be the Beauty Pie Super Retinol, which are very affordable in comparison to lots of those if you've got the membership. So it depends how much you're going to be ordering stuff, if it makes it worth your while. But I think the Super Retinol range is incredible. And also Youth Bomb with Beauty Pie, amazing products. But if you just want one that you can get hold of easily, let's say in Boots or what have you, then I think that the Rock Retinol range is fantastic. So good, really easily tolerated, no side effects, but you really see results. The creams, I think, are particularly amazing. I just didn't have one to hand. They also do these little retinol serum capsules. All of this is just, I mean, I'm not going to get technical with you, but it's all just helping to deal with things like fine lines, deeper wrinkles, unevenness of skin tone, Retinoids are really brilliant if you're looking at the texture of your skin, so the plumpness of it, the elasticity. Same thing with peptides. Different way of working, but we're all for the common goal, which is skin that feels less crepey, less kind of dry and thin, and is more plumpy, elastic, resilient, and I don't even want to say the word soft, because it's not about going, oh my God, my skin is so soft, is it? It's wanting that plumped out, youthful, filled out kind of look, isn't it? And that's what those types of ingredients will do. I've brought the wrong bloody serum in with me, but Future Renew Night Serum from No. 7, brilliant peptide serum. Medicate, again, great. They do a really brilliant advanced peptide serum, obviously a load more pricey than the No. 7 one. I'm going to put options below, but I think on your night off, you don't have to do a night off retinoids. I just like to do that because then I can pack in the other ingredients that I want to use in my routine. I also find that sometimes my skin can get a bit dry if I do lots of nights of retinoids in a row. Eventually, what I tend to find is that my skin just doesn't feel so kind of dewy on the surface, and that's a feel that I like to have. I like it to feel nourished and comfortable. Okay, so peptide serum, the one from No. 7, brilliant. The one from Medicate, amazing. I tend to alternate between the two of those at the moment. And then if I was going in for a really deeply hydrating moisturiser, loving the Micro Caviar Mask from Beauty Pie. Again, they do such good skincare products. Another one, this is not too expensive at all, Curel, the range Curel. And the Replenishing Night Cream, I think, is amazing. Really, really feels as though you've just been, I don't know, injected with some kind of hydrating thing the whole night through, and you wake up and you know when your skin feels, you almost think, I don't need to put anything on it because it feels perfect. That's the kind of effect that I get from this Curel cream. They do a day one as well, which is also really nice. There are so many products I want to tell you about, but this video would just be so long and I can't tell you how long it is already because I've got to edit this down at the moment from 40 minutes. I've just been waffling. So should we recap on this? Oh my God, I've forgotten something really important. Every single night without fail, I use my Current Body mask, LED mask. I've talked about this so much. I'm not going to go through it again. If you're regular readers stroke viewers, then you will have heard me talk about this because I've just had really, really fantastic results from it. I now use the neck and neck one as well because this area needs a bit of attention, and I am an ongoing kind of partner or ambassador, whatever you would call it, for Current Body, and so I get to try all of these things, which is brilliant. However, if anything ever happened to this mask and the neck and neck one, I would repurchase this instantly. It would be a no-brainer for me, so I hope that goes some way to telling you how much I think about it. I think it's absolutely brilliant. I just saw a complete kind of very noticeable overhaul in the brightness and the evenness of tone of my skin. Wasn't instant. I'd say it was about 3 months in, maybe a little bit longer, and that's with consistent everyday use. However, I think that the proof is in the pudding, and that's probably the wrong saying, but the fact that I continue to use this every single night religiously, I mean, I just wouldn't bother if it didn't work, so I use those as well. What I tend to do is I cleanse, I use my masks, and then I go in with whatever it is that I'm doing to complete the routine. So the retinoid or the peptide serum and the moisturiser, or even if it's the exfoliant, I wait until I have done my mask and then I go in with the rest of the routine. So just cleansing, masks, rest of the routine. Eye cream, yes, I do use an eye cream at night. Don't tend to use one in the day. The reason that I do use one at night is A, I do think that having something formulated for the eye area is a good idea, especially if you're using really strong things like tretinoin on the rest of your face. I think it's good to have something that is for this type of skin, which is thinner, it's going to show wrinkles earlier, and so I'm a believer in eye cream. The reason that I also use one is that I like there to be a bit of a barrier between strong retinoids and the eye area. I have this weird thing, and I'm sure, I don't know how to prove it, but I get really blurry eyes during the day. It's almost as if things are stuck to my eyeballs, and it's when my eyes are dry. And I realised that when I was using a strong retinoid all the way up to the eye area, that's when I was getting dry eyes the next day. I have no way of proving it. I don't know whether this is a thing that anyone else has experienced, but I'm sure that's what was happening. I'm trying to word it carefully so I don't get sued by someone. I don't know who would sue me, but I really do think that it's a thing. If anyone else has had this, or if you have dry eyes and you just don't know what to do about them, just try taking the retinoids back to kind of here and see what happens for me, because I want to know if the same thing happens to you. Or if you use an eye cream as a barrier, tell me if it helps with the dryness and the floaty things in your eyes. Right, that's it. I'm going to put loads more info below. I'm going to do a blog post to go with this that will have everything set out like a cheat sheet for you. And so if you click on the first link in the description below, it will take you to that post, and you can click away to your heart's content to loads of different products at different price points. All right, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Make sure you subscribe.